Today is March 18th, 2026. Welcome back to No Michael channel. From OpenAI bringing near flagship intelligence to free users, to Google expanding personal intelligence, NVIDIA pushing new hardware and cloud tools, China's wild lobster AI craze, and even a plan to give every AI agent its own human-backed identity. There's a lot happening. News 1, GPT 5.4 mini for free and go users. Our first story is a big one for anyone using ChatGPT. This news comes from Engadget Tech News, released on March 17, 2026. OpenAI has launched GPT 5.4 mini and GPT 5.4 nano. The headline is that GPT 5.4 mini is now available to ChatGPT Free and Go users. Engadget says GPT 5.4, released earlier in March, was pitched mainly for professional work like programming and data analysis. Now, mini is a lighter, faster version that still gets close in multiple areas. If you are on ChatGPT Free or Go, you can access 5.4 mini by selecting Thinking in the ChatGPT menu. For paid users, Mini also acts as the fallback model when you hit your rate limit on full 5.4. OpenAI claims 5.4 Mini improves reasoning, multimodal understanding, and tool use compared to GPT-5 Mini. That means it is better with images and audio, and smarter at tasks like web search and tool calls. On the developer side, there is GPT 5.4 Nano. You will not see it in the ChatGPT UI because it is API only. OpenAI says it is ideal for super cheap, super fast tasks like data classification and extraction. The idea is that you can use a stronger model to plan, then delegate smaller steps to nano running as part of an agent workflow. OpenAI pricing starts at about $0.2 per million input tokens. News 2, Google expands personal intelligence. Next up, Google is not sitting still. This news comes from the Google AI blog, released on March 17, 2026. Google announced it is expanding personal intelligence across 3 surfaces: AI mode in search, the Gemini app, and Gemini in Chrome. In plain terms, personal intelligence is branded as AI that understands you, your context, and your data, then helps proactively. It can track your preferences, your documents, and your browsing, and connect the dots across your Google ecosystem. Put this next to OpenAI's GPT 5.4 mini for free users, and you can see the battle lines. OpenAI is democratizing raw model capability, while Google is doubling down on deep integration with your daily tools and personal data. News 3, NVIDIA and Apple Vision Pro, CloudXR streaming. Now let us talk about NVIDIA and Apple teaming up. This news comes from the NVIDIA blog, released on March 17, 2026. NVIDIA and Apple are collaborating to bring native integration of NVIDIA CloudXR 6 to Vision OS on the Apple Vision Pro. In simple English, high-end RTX-powered graphics and simulations can stream directly into your headset. NVIDIA describes this as enabling professional 3D graphics apps rendered on powerful RTX machines, then delivered securely and smoothly to Vision Pro. This matters for AI because a lot of modern 3D workflows already use AI for simulation, design assistance, and visualization. You can imagine AI design agents running in the cloud on RTX GPUs, feeding real-time interactive experiences straight into your headset. So we are seeing a convergence: AI plus cloud GPUs plus spatial computing. OpenAI and Google compete for your browser and phone, while NVIDIA quietly wires AI into your headset and high-end 3D work. News 4. AI grids in telecom networks. Staying with NVIDIA, but shifting to the network layer. This news also comes from the NVIDIA blog, released on March 17th, 2026. At NVIDIA GTC 2026, NVIDIA and major telecom operators in the US and Asia announced AI grids. These are geographically distributed and interconnected AI infrastructures built on top of telecom networks. The point is that when AI native applications scale to millions of users, agents, and devices, you do not want all inference to happen only in a single huge data center far away. Instead, you push AI capabilities out into the network, closer to phones, cars, IoT devices, and AR or VR headsets. The AI grids run models on telecom footprint edge compute to cut latency. You can think of an AI agent in your car or glasses getting responses under 10 milliseconds because the model runs near the nearest cell tower. Connect this with the CloudXR and Vision Pro story, and you get a clear pattern. NVIDIA wants to be the backbone of real-time, everywhere AI, not just big data centers, but also the network and devices. News 5. GTC 2026, DLSS 5, NemoClaw, and Vera CPU. Let us stay with GTC one more time, but from a more consumer angle. This news comes from CNET Tech News, released on March 17th, 2026. CNET covered NVIDIA's keynote, highlighting three big things: DLSS 5, NemoClaw, and the new Vera CPU. First is DLSS 5. It is NVIDIA's latest iteration of AI-powered upscaling and frame generation for games. CNET says NVIDIA is pushing a more cinematic look, and that has sparked backlash from some gamers who feel games look too processed. Even as AI improves graphics, the debate continues about how much AI magic people actually want on their screens. Second is NemoClaw. This is NVIDIA's agent stack, a software framework for building, deploying, and orchestrating AI agents. It ties into the same trend as GPT 5.4 Nano and Google's personal intelligence. The future is not just single chatbots. It is swarms of specialized agents working together. Third is the Vera CPU. NVIDIA is moving deeper into CPU space, positioning Vera as part of its broader data center and AI infrastructure strategy. With Vera CPU plus GPUs and networking, NVIDIA wants to own more of the full stack for AI workloads, from training to inference and agent orchestration. News 6. NVIDIA restarts China-focused H200 production. Now, let us move from tech to geopolitics. This news comes from the South China Morning Post's China Tech section, released on March 17th, 2026. SCMP reports that NVIDIA is restarting production of its China-focused AI chip, the H200. It is based on NVIDIA's older Hopper architecture, designed to comply with US export restrictions on high-end AI chips to China. SCMP says NVIDIA had halted manufacturing last year as regulatory hurdles rose. CEO Jensen Huang later said at a press conference that NVIDIA has received licenses from the US government to export the H200 again. This is strategically important. Even if H200 is not NVIDIA's newest chip, restarting production helps NVIDIA keep a foothold in a massive Chinese AI market while staying inside export rules. When you connect this with AI grids, CloudXR, and Vera CPUs, the bigger picture is that NVIDIA tries to be present everywhere, in Western data centers, in telecom networks, in Apple ecosystems, and within legal constraints, in China too. News 7. China's lobster AI agent craze, OpenClaw. Speaking of China, we have one of the more surreal AI stories of the week. This news comes from SCMP Tech Opinion, released on March 17th, 2026. SCMP describes a frenzy around an AI agent called OpenClaw. Its logo is a red lobster, and people are literally lining up in the streets to get it installed on their computers. Some users travel from other cities. Others wait for hours for engineers to set it up. They even hand out birth certificates when OpenClaw is installed. Chinese internet users have coined a phrase for this, raising lobsters. Under the quirky visuals, SCMP suggests something deeper. OpenClaw marks a new phase of AI agent adoption in China. People are not just using a website, they are installing persistent agents that live on their machines, help with tasks, and start to feel like digital pets or companions. SCMP frames it as the lobster having escaped the pod, meaning agents are now in the wild, in the hands of regular users, in a way that is harder to fully control or roll back. Tie this back to GPT 5.4, nano agents, Google's personal intelligence, and NVIDIA's NemoClaw. Everyone is moving toward agentic AI. China's OpenClaw frenzy shows what happens when that goes mainstream culture. News 8. Unsloth Studio. Local, no-code, fine-tuning. Now, let us switch gears to open source tooling. This news comes from Mark TechPost AI News, released on March 17, 2026. Unsloth AI, known for its high-performance training library, released Unsloth Studio. It is described as an open-source, local, no-code interface for high-performance LLM fine-tuning. Mark TechPost says the big value proposition is cutting VRAM usage by up to 70% compared to traditional setups. Normally, moving from raw datasets to a fine-tuned LLM needs serious infrastructure and know-how, including CUDA environments and high VRAM GPUs. Unsloth Studio aims to remove that friction. It runs locally, provides a no-code interface, and makes it cheaper and easier to fine-tune on your own data. In the bigger picture, while OpenAI, Google, and NVIDIA push massive centralized platforms and agent stacks, tools like Unsloth Studio empower individuals and small teams to build specialized models and agents on their own hardware with more control and privacy. News 9. State of open source on Hugging Face, Spring 2026. Staying in the open ecosystem for a moment. This news also comes from the Hugging Face blog, released on March 17, 2026. Hugging Face published State of Open Source on Hugging Face, Spring 2026. The summary we have does not include details, but based on the title and their past reports, it likely tracks how open models, datasets, and tools are evolving on their platform. These reports usually highlight growth in open models and contributions, trends in architectures and modalities, comparisons between open and closed models, and community projects, and ecosystem health. Given everything else we just discussed, open source health matters. It is the counterweight to a future where AI is dominated by only a few megacore. News 10, World ID, and human-backed AI agents. Finally, let us talk about identity in an AI agent world. This news comes from Ars Technica's AI section, released on March 17, 2026. Ars Technica reports that World ID, the identity system associated with WorldCoin, wants to put a cryptographically unique human identity behind every AI agent. The concept is to use iris scan-backed tokens and other cryptographic proofs, so each AI agent is tied to a real, unique human being. According to the report, this could help prevent swarms of AI agents from overwhelming online systems, for example, by ensuring each account or each cluster of agents maps back to a verified human. This connects to all the stories about scaling. OpenAI is making it cheap to spawn lots of agents. NVIDIA builds network-level AI grids to run them. Google integrates AI into your daily context. China shows mainstream cultural adoption with OpenClaw, and open tooling, like Unsloth Studio, lets people build their own agent workflows. World ID is basically saying, if we do not anchor agents to real humans, online systems could get flooded by bots and trust could break down. Of course, this raises serious privacy and governance questions. Scanning your iris for a global ID is controversial, but the problem it tries to solve is very real as agent-based AI becomes mainstream. Closing. So, to pull it all together, on March 18th, 2026, AI is moving in several directions at once. Intelligence is getting cheaper and more accessible with GPT 5.4 mini for free and go users, while Google expands personal intelligence deeper into Search, Gemini, and Chrome. Infrastructure is racing to keep up with CloudXR streaming into Vision Pro, AI grids pushing inference closer to the edge, and NVIDIA expanding its stack with DLSS 5, NemoClaw, and Vera CPU. On the ground, culture is embracing persistent agents, shown by the OpenClaw lobster frenzy in China. Meanwhile, open tools push back with local fine-tuning like Unsloth Studio, and Hugging Face tracks the health of open ecosystems. And, in the background, identity and safety loom large. World ID and similar efforts aim to ensure there is a real verifiable human behind every powerful agent, not an anonymous bot army. If you want to dive deeper, check the original articles from Engadget, Google, NVIDIA, CNET, SCMP, MarkTech Post, Hugging Face, and Ars Technica. That is it for today. Subscribe to NemoClaw, hit like, and drop a comment about which change matters most: cheaper agents, personal intelligence, local fine-tuning, or identity systems like World ID. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.